Hello, it's Sunday, it's Claire, and it's another day challenge. Hangovers all gone and work continuing. Oh god, I don't know. It's just one of those, actually getting a lot done this weekend. It's just I've got a lot to do. Trying to redo my deck for the confetti talk I'm doing later this week. Just so it's more appropriate for a 2-hour slot and for a student audience really. Just modifying some bits and bobs and taking out some assumptions in the talk and yeah, just doing some bits. As I say, it's all pretty simple stuff. It's just stuff. Oh, and then I'm really amped for the Cyberpunk Jam. I'm actually super amped. Really happy with the idea I have, and yeah, just want to get on with it really. But I've been doing the slide deck. I did get distracted, not in a bad way. I think I needed the distraction. I did get distracted from the core part of the game design by doing the, I suppose you could say, periphery of some graphics and visualization stuff. And I was like, oh man, I'm getting distracted. This is not great. But then I had a brilliant brainstorm, and I kind of think I needed the time because I'm still mulling over a bunch of the game design factors, and it's quite a design intensive. It's a design intensive game, you know. It's like one of those games where the design's actually got to be kind of right. And I'm kind of scared because it's got a big scope thing, but I'm actually really pumped. I think this game could be really cool. It's actually based on an idea I've been doodling since South Africa first year university, because it's something that's always been inspired by one of my favourite games of all time, one of the games that really influenced me, because I played loads of games on the Commodore 64 and stuff and whatnot, and I was big into programming and I was big into video games, and like Elite was a thing, but it was a fuck! I just assumed because I saw something crap around that one had been triggered. How to get there? Wow, this is not going to be pretty. So yeah, Elite was a thing, but it was more a thing for my dad and my brother, because you know. And I played loads of stuff, and games definitely interested me back then. But the first game to really make me go, wow, you know, I want to make a video game. Not even that, right? The first game to make me aware of the possibility space, so to speak. The first game that really blew my mind as a kid was, you know, I mean, it blew my mind loads, but the one that really left an impression on me was Hero's Quest by Sierra, or it was called Quest for Glory. Well, it was called Hero's Quest when I played it. It was the original black box version. Yeah, it was hilarious. Funny story actually. I couldn't get into the Thieves Guild for ages because I didn't read a very subtle hint in the dead shopkeeper. I didn't read a very subtle hint in the instruction manual, which was basically there was a command, use thief sign, and it was hinted at in the instruction manual, but I kind of just didn't click until ages later. But yeah, no, that game really opened the possibility space. But then the first console game I ever played, because my parents weren't big into consoles, they were like, well, you can't do anything useful on a console, you can only play video games, so we don't want you to have a console. And some of my friends had SNESes and stuff, but you know, I didn't have a console. And then, you know, years and years later, my parents kind of conceded and got me the bollocks, I dropped really? Weird. Just hoping I was happy. So yeah, and years later I got the Sega Genesis, or Mega Drive, or whatever you call it in your region. And the game that I got, well, I couldn't play it originally because when I first got it, it was like, why doesn't this load up? And it was because it was from a different region and stuff. But oh, I'm so glad I got the region sorted and everything, because the two games I got with my Mega Drive when I got it was a shitty Power Rangers game, and I was never big into Power Rangers. And then the other game was this game called Shadowrun, and to this day, that game just blows my mind. It was like Quest for Glory, the possibility space. Oh god. Fucking climbing gloves. The possibility space was in many ways more limited, but at the same time it just kind of made me go, wow, there's so much here, it's so rich, it's a whole world. And by that point I was really into role-playing, because I was into role-playing from like the age of 8, 9, and my brother was teasing me, because he's like, oh, just turn it up on the box, and I'm like, oh, fuck you, Rob, I want to play. But I longed up the story about my parents burning my brother's role-playing books and not wanting me to play and stuff. And that meant that I improvised a lot. Anyway, long story short, I was really into role-playing, and the game just hit the right mental space for me, because I was like, wow, this game's got so much in it. And I love the hacking, which, looking back on it, it's probably a good... I mean, it was amazing from a story point of view, but it was also kind of grindy by today's standards. But, I loved it. I loved it to bits. And so I always thought, oh no, I really want to make a hacking game. And I made several attempts at it. And I made some really shitty ones, but I kept on thinking, oh, I can do this. And then as my knowledge of 3D graphics programming got better, I was like, oh no, I should totally do this. And, and do this. And it took loads of different directions, but I never really got it to a place I was happy with, and other projects always took over and stuff. So it was one of those projects that has been on the back burner for me for 15 years. I'd say that's fair, 15 years. Obviously not 15 years of actual proper, development or thought into it. But it was one of those ones that I've got doodles in my university notebooks on design notes for this type of game and whatnot. And so I'm using some of the ideas that I coined over the years for that, but at the same time, I haven't really taken a swing at this since I entered the games industry, and well, since I became a much more really? That didn't go well. I mean, it went well because I survived, but wow, that was I survived because I was lucky, not because I was good there. That was a lot of mistakes on my part. So here's the question, do we ghost? I think we should. Ghost. Yeah, I think we should ghost the vault, if nothing else. coming back for you, damsel. Wait for the ghostie to get in, and then we'll do the rundown. But yeah, so I'm actually really pumped with this idea, and as I say, I haven't put any real thought into it for a very long time, but now I'm a much more experienced designer and just know, and a more experienced programmer as well. That has an impact as well. You know, I think I can finally execute on my vision. I think I actually have a vision to execute on now as well, because I think a lot of the times it was like, oh, I've got this idea, and I think it should be this, but I'm not sure. Whereas now I actually have, okay, no, I know what I want this to be about, and I know what I don't want this to be about, and what's superfluous, and what's overcomplicated, and what's thing. And as I say, I think I needed that brain space where I spent most of yesterday just doing visualization stuff for the game and just playing around with render code and thinking around and whatnot, because it gave me the time to clear up some concepts in my head. Because originally I started really cracking on the idea yesterday, the hairdressers, but now I'm actually like in a place where I'm like, I know what to do. And then one of the things I was getting a bit worried about, partly because of how I spent yesterday, was I was worried I'm going to get hung up on the content side, on all the visuals and everything. And then I had this brilliant idea, because I was like, well, you know, what if I go like low punk and I do keyboard input? And I thought to myself, well, why is that? That's not really a valid thing, because a lot of people, you know, will want non-keyboard input, and oh wow, they perfectly managed to kill each other. Probably should. Oh, did I lose health from that? If I did, that was really idiotic. That's not what I wanted to do. God, I'm making a lot of mistakes. Goes to in a bit this way. Unfortunately, for all the mistakes I make, there's enough bombs to cover it. Maybe not enough. Do not piss off Carly. We're going to wait for the ghostie to get over here, and then we're going to do a quick run around. Yeah, so yeah, I was thinking, is keyboard input a bit too low punk? And then I thought, well, you know, maybe I could do it as a retro thing. And then I thought, wow, well, what if the board that you're using to hack had a different visualizer, really, and like you could get a cooler board with a better visualizer, and you could go from like console style command stuff to you know, really switch 3D graphic stuff. And that's kind of where my head went. And then I thought to myself, well, this is perfect, because I can develop all the game logic as the lo-fi input stuff, keyboard input stuff, because all of the game mechanics, oh shit, fucking input glitch. And by glitch I mean my glitch, because it was purely my mistake. Oh, distracted and excited about talking about what I'm talking about. Fuck's sakes.